Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. And if you're new here, well, that's exactly what I do. Now today we're looking at a Canon lens, and it's a Canon RF lens. I purchased it to use with my Canon RP, which is a full frame camera, and my Canon R7, which is the, at the moment, their top of the range APSC camera. I love both of them and I wanted to see how well it worked on both cameras. Now obviously when you're using it on the R7, being that it's an APC camera, it will have a crop factor, but on the full frame body it is actually a full frame lens, so you get, you know, what it says on the can really. And what we're looking at is the Canon RF 15-30 f4.5-6.3 IS STM lens. I'm never going to remember that as I go through this whole review, so I'm not going to say it in its full title. I'm just going to use the Canon 15-30, and that's what we have here. I've actually got it fitted to my Canon R7. The R7 is one of my favourite cameras I use all the time. I love the R7. I've only had it a short while, hasn't been out very long. And effectively the 15-30 is, as it says, when you're using it on a full frame camera, it's an ultra wide to wide angle lens, well, almost standard. So it's an ultra wide to an almost standard focal length, and the 15-30 is a really handy focal length. I love wide angle. It's great for architecture. It's great for when I'm going out and about. I'm not really a wildlife photographer or a sports photographer. I don't do any of that, so I do prefer to have a lens on the camera that is great for when I'm going out and about, and I can get me street shots, I can get me architecture shots and what have you, nice and easily. Now on my Canon R7 that we have here, this is basically a 24-48. So 24-50, and that is probably to some extent an even better range, because that really is wide angle right through to your standard nifty 50. So works really well. So I'm very happy using it on my Canon R7. I will go through some of the pictures on my computer here, just so you can get an idea of what the images are like that come off this particular lens. It's one of their sort of entry level, I wouldn't exactly call it a budget lens. It's probably more expensive than what a budget lens would be, but it's an entry level RF lens, hence the reason the aperture range. It's actually quite a, you know, it's not a fantastic aperture range, to be honest. It's f4.5 at its widest, and that isn't particularly a wide lens, so not the best in low light, but it goes right down to 6.3 at the telephoto end, and that is quite, you know, frustrating, a little bit annoying, but they've done that for two major reasons. Firstly, to keep the lens really compact, and you can see here it is really compact. Let me just take it off this body. It's a very compact lens. It's not very heavy, and that's the other thing they've been able to make it really lightweight, and it has got image stabilization in the lens. So even though it's light and compact, it has got image stabilization. Let's take this lens hood off. Now it doesn't come with a lens hood. I've bought this lens hood separately. This is the JJC lens hood. I will leave links in the description below where you can get this sort of thing from. I got this one from Amazon. It's actually it's fine. It's a bayonet lens hood, works fine. It was only, I think, 10 quid, so it weren't really that dear. But this is the actual lens, really nice and compact, not particularly heavy. I'm not sure what it weighs. Let's have a look. Yeah, just over 400 grams. So, you know, next to nothing really, isn't it? You know, you won't really know that you've got that in your kit bag. And in fact, I will do a review on the three sort of entry-level RF lenses. I own all three of them. So I've got the 15-30, I've got the was it 24-105, and I've also got the 100-400. So you've got the entire range in three very lightweight compact lenses. And you know, if you are going out somewhere and you know you might be doing a bit of wildlife, maybe a bit of sports, you know, and you want to, you know, you want the flexibility of having those three lenses, then I think I will do, you know, a very short review on all three of them. But that is the 15-30 or 24-48 if you're using it on the R7 or the R10. and that just fits on there like so, so that's really good. It is RF mount, so it is designed for their mirrorless cameras, not the DSLRs, although they're starting to introduce a lot more mirrorless cameras now, and it is a full frame lens, as I said earlier, so that's how neat it looks on the R7. Now it has got this either it's a control ring or focus ring on the front here. It's nice and smooth, works really, really well. I'm quite happy with how that works. And on the side you've got to switch it from either control ring or switch it to here it is, either control ring or focus, so you can switch that over to manual focus or control ring. Now on some of the Canon bodies it's a really weird thing actually. Even when you switch it to manual focus, it doesn't automatically put the camera into manual focus, which is a bizarre way of working. You have to still set that up in the menu, and I don't know why Canon have done it that way. It's a bit odd, but I have it set to control ring because I use it for controlling the ISO, so you can use it for exposure compensation and various other settings you can use that for, but I use it for adjusting the ISO, and that's on the front here, and it's got your zoom, really large zoom ring to zoom between 15 to 30. So all in all, a very, very nicely built lens. And the only other switch on the side is turning your image stabilization on and off. I know there was always talk about, if you're using it on a tripod, turn your image stabilization off because it will affect the image, or it could affect your images, particularly if you're shooting video. I always forget to turn it off anyway when I'm doing video, and I've found with all my other lenses I've not really had any issues. I've never had any issues. I leave the image stabilization turned on, not had any issues on my Canon bodies. Maybe I've been lucky, I don't know, but it is turnable, so you can turn it on or off. It has 5.5 stops of active image stabilization. I think that will depend on what camera body you're using it with, but it has got up to 5.5 stops of image stabilization in the lens. So when I'm using it with my Canon RP, it's fantastic because the RP has no in-body image stabilization. So when I use it with the RP, I turn that on, and I do get effectively 5.5 stops of image stabilization. Now I think we ought to look at a few images I've taken with Canon 15 to 30, both on my Canon RP and on my Canon R7. Now I'm going to very briefly go through them here, but your best bet is to see them on my Flickr page. I'll leave a link in the description to me Flickr album where you can find them on Flickr. It's better to see them there. The resolution will be better than trying to study them on my YouTube video, and also you won't have to keep stopping and starting the video if you want to look at the images better. So looking at them in Lightroom here, so no particular order, let's just go through them. You can see, let's go full screen. So now this is taken on my Canon RP, that's at 30mm on my Canon RP, and it's nice colours, really, really nice colours. And what I like about the Canon cameras, the colours look natural, the colours don't look digital, and you know, they're really nice and sharp, beautiful sharpness there. I mean, look at that, and that is really, really nice and sharp, and that's actually indoors. So although the lens aperture isn't the widest, because the Canon cameras you can shoot to higher ISO without too much of an issue, then that's fine. Also, because it has got in-body image, well, not in-body, in-lens image stabilization, you can actually reduce the shutter speed to still get, you know, great sharpness. Obviously it depends on what you're photographing. You wouldn't be able to reduce the shutter speed if you're photographing sports or, you know, birds or whatever. So you have to be realistic depending on what you're photographing. There is a degree of bokeh. Now bokeh, it's not a bokeh king, this lens, A, because of the aperture range, but B, because it's a wide angle lens. So I didn't buy it for bokeh, but I bought it for the sort of purpose I needed it for, which is getting those wide angle images. But you can see there again, sharp, look how sharp that is, it's beautiful. We all talk about sharpness, but you know, sharpness is important, but I don't think it's the overall thing. And you've got nice edge-to-edge sharpness. But Again, my reviews are not technical. If you want to look at the technical specs and graphs and all that sort of thing, you need to look at other videos. I look at the practical use of lenses and cameras. Do they practically fit my need? You know, will they do what I need it to do? And would I be able to print these images? Yes, I would be able to print them. They're lovely quality. You've got no problem being able to print these. And, you know, the sharpness, colour rendition, you know, is excellent. So yeah, I mean, look at that. You see, that's really fine detail in that image, and it's recovered that beautifully. Really, really happy with how it's recovered the fine detail in that image. What was that taken on? That was on my, again, that was on my Canon RP. So yeah, all these in the garden have been taken on my RP. But even if we look at ones, let's go through to the ones I've taken on my R7. See, look, the colours pop. They literally do pop without it looking unnatural. So, you know, I look at the well, sort of reds, pinks in that. They're really poppy. They're really, really nice. So, now these are taken on my Canon R7. Now the R7 has the 32 megapixel sensor, it's an APS-C sensor, but it's got a higher megapixel count. And this lens, again, resolves that detail beautifully. So you're going to be quite happy, more than happy, using it on a R7 or the R10, as well as using it on the full frame bodies. Now that's taken on the R7, yeah, 15, that was shot at 1/200th of a second, f8 actually. So again, the brick detail is lovely, the resolution, you know, really, really good. And I say these images will be on my Flickr page. Fine detail comes out good. Yeah, got no issues with any of this. Detailing the brickwork, contrast and brightness, you know, everything just works out fine with this particular lens. Yeah, so a lot of detail with this lens, and it's a great lens just to keep on your camera body, particularly if you've got something like the R7, because it does shoot right up to 48mm, which is great for getting, you know, your portraits, although it's not really a portrait lens because of the aperture range, but, you know, you can do it, and, you know, the lens works out really well. So, yeah, colours, look how vivid the colours are. Yeah, great lens. Very, very happy that I purchased this lens, and it will stay on my Canon R7, I think, probably more so than my Canon RP. But again, because the lens has got in-lens image stabilization, I can use it on the RP and still get image stabilized images, you know, and that is great. So yeah, really, really nice lens, really nice and compact. It's a bit of a shame that Canon don't provide lenses with their lenses. I don't know why they don't. They're saving money, I know, but as I say, I will leave a link to where you can buy the lenses from, but also where you can buy the lenses from. So, and don't forget to take a look at my Flickr page rather than seeing them on this YouTube video. So there we go. That's a very brief look at the Canon RF 15-30, a very non-technical look, but a very brief look at the Canon RF 15-30. Only fits the mirrorless bodies. It won't work on their DSLR bodies. So be conscious of that. It's an RF mount, not an EF mount. So there we go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Hit the like button if you like the content of this video. Would really, really appreciate that. And stay tuned for more videos relating to video photography, podcasting, so on and so forth. Cheers for now. Bye.